This is Kent at KJS Painting and Renovations, and today we're going to patch cracks in plaster, around the corners of windows and doors. We've all seen it. And I'll show you how to patch a crack so that you won't see it come through to the surface. It will be gone for years. So let's go. So here's a window. Here's a typical crack. And the guys that did it before used this this fiber tape. We've seen it before. It wiggles and does all sorts of things. There's no shear strength to it, right? So if you repair it with this, right? Paper tape. It's got serious shear strength. You try to shear it with your fingers, you won't. So what happens is the crack is always going to be there, but it's not going to come through to the surface. And I'm talking for years. I'm not going to show all of this, right? This goes to the shop vac. Vacuum this nice and clean, right? Then I got this stuff. Any sort of concrete bonding adhesive, right? Use this. Just to show you, it's happening here. It's happening here. To start off, I've taken this whole thing down to the point where it's, you want the wall to be kind of plumb here, right? So just really, when you take this down, there shouldn't be any bumps. It should be nice and flat across here. So this is like plaster, right? Kind of like concrete. I got some of my concrete bonding adhesive. SIKA makes one. This is SIKA. Got it at Home Depot. There's another one. What is it called? Weldcrete or something like that. Stucco guys use. Put this on liberally. It also takes care of the dust, right? Like so. So before I get going, I can tear off tape, right? See, tape is straight, so it's only going to go about yay far. So I tear. There's going to be a piece going like this. I'll tear off another one that's going to go. That one's going to go there. Then there's this one, right? I got this stuff, right? USG. It's a 20-minute mud. I'm not using plaster because this works better. It's not my favorite brand. I like the Westpac materials stuff. I got a little bit of, bonding agents in my pan. That's okay. Add some of this to the pan. Mix it up to a consistency where it kind of hangs on the edge of your knife. I got a bucket of water, right? I'm going to add that to my pan. Mix up only what you can use. Okay, I brushed on that bonding adhesive just a few minutes ago, and you can see that's about what you want. Kind of hangs on the knife, right? Whoops. Just throwing around my 6-inch knife. Now when you get this on here, right, you want it not too much. Pretty much, put it on, be liberal, but what I'm trying to say is go ahead, put it on. Okay, here's our pieces, right? Sometimes I take this, I dip it in the water, right? Look at that. You see it's got extra beef in the middle, right? Okay, so which one was that? That looks like this one was going to go here, right? And then this is important, right? This is how you do it. You take, basically, I'll put some more mud on here, right? But you want to put that thing on there. You want this flat the first go around, right? So a little bit here, right? Now there's our shorter piece, right? You don't have to wet it, but I like to. Doesn't matter which way it goes on. Here we go again. Main thing, it's really, really important here, right? You gotta put this thing on. So it's on there, right? Take all the mud out from underneath. Get it on, like that. Kind of take almost all the mud off. Lost a lot of the mud over here, right? Put it back on, like this. There we go. I can still see it. Let's see, where is it? I don't have to feel it. There it is. There's the crack, right? Sometimes it's hard to tell. So, there's where she goes. Put this on there. Wet this one down a little bit. Let me see, is that it? That's it, right? Okay, put it like that. Same thing, kind of redundant here. But if you guys are a little slow like me, you like to see me do it a couple times. Okay, there we go, right? So, seems like I should float the whole thing right now. It's not what you want to do. You want this to be flat. Nice and flat. You can even take a bigger knife. But this is good. I'm happy with how flat this is, right? Okay. 20-minute mud sets fast. Now I got some extra mud in my pan, right? Don't want to lose it. So that's okay. Cruise around, look at this. There's this big old gap, right? So you can fill that. Fill that. Work it both directions to make it easier to tape. Come back and tape that. I guess up here, same thing. Still got some mud in the bucket, or the pan rather. Same thing here. Put some bonding adhesive on there and just fill it. Not going to show you that. Okay, back to this patch, right? Another thing you're going to need is a good hard side light, right? I happen to have one of these. It's also a radio, right? But like without this light, you can't really see anything, right? So, you know, scrape off any clinkers lightly. You want this flat. And also the reason why I took the knife hard on edge and did that in all directions is look at this. There's no bubbles under here. How many times do you see bubbles under this tape and you got to cut it out again? There's no bubbles under here. So that's why we did it like that, where we just really got all the bubbles out, and wetting it down helps so that this tape and this wall are kind of one. Okay, now we're going to do the top coat. You can't see anything until you turn on the light, right? Now you can see. Okay, got my 10-inch knife, which I like. Just going to float this area, right? So I kind of treat my knife like this. I just kind of get it on there, right? Okay. I might even put pretty much like the whole darn pan on there, right? Like that. Being liberal. Is this camera running? Looks like it. Okay. The idea is to really bury this sucker. So this is like floating. We're gonna float now, right? So put more English on that side of the knife, right? Right, so it's a nice smooth taper. Same thing, I'm gonna put more English on this side of the knife. Put it more toward the wall. See what we can do? Floating. Just like that. I even caught that a little bit, right? You sort of see the edge of the patch over here. And let's see. Try to get that like that. I think we're going to leave it like this and let it dry. We'll come back one more go. Okay, this stuff dries fast. So before it's dry, like any little ridges, it's kind of like a clinker. You just sort of can kind of take it off easy. It sort of ends up on your knife right there. Over here too, some of these striations, kind of take these off before we go. For I guess that would be the third and the final round, right? Kind of like that. Make it flat. This should be plumb. No big thing sticking out like the one that was on there before, right? Okay, third and final coat. Stepping up to the 12-inch knife. If you look down that knife, if you could see it, there's a bend to it, right? It's not, so what I want to do is where the edge of the knife goes up, use that edge of the knife, right? Same as before, I kind of take a little bit off the edge, right? Be liberal, kind of get it on there, right? Here, get it on there. Here, damned, got a little bit there, that's okay. Take it off. I think I'm just trying to put the whole pan on there, right? Get it on there. Now it's time to float this sucker. We're floating, right? We're trying to bury. You see, what's my knife look like? Something like that. Trying to float this sucker, right? English up here, press harder there, right? A couple times it takes. Okay. Maybe we try it like this. Press harder on that side. Oh, that's looking good, right? Okay, so now this area, how are we gonna do it? Okay, here we go. We're floating. I'm not pressing that hard. Floating, right? Trying to bury these suckers. Bury that tape. Okay, one more. Don't want to overdo it. Sometimes I wipe off that edge, right? Here we go, down here. It's okay to go beyond the patch, right? Okay. Don't overwork it too much, right? Of course, you're going to want to go back and do more. Maybe over here. Take that a little bit, light touch. So now, when we're done, after this, sort of just take the edges off with the edge of the knife like this. Then a little bit of sanding. Don't sand too much, right? If there's a divot or a little something or other, what you can do is you can use spackle afterwards, right? So now what's gonna happen is we're gonna wait a couple of days, put a fan on here, let it dry. It's flat paint, right? So flat paint is a primer, so you can put flat paint right on top of this. And any imperfections or something, use a little bit of spackle, and then give it another coat of paint, and then it's done. And the crack is always going to be here, but it's never going to come to the surface. Maybe in 6 or 8 years, it will come to the surface. But because of the sheer strength of the tape, and because it's buried with so much compound, and because it's feathered so big, you're not going to see this. If you got a lath and plaster home, and you got these kind of problems, which most people do, trust me, folks, this is the best way to handle it. I mean, just look at me. I've got years of experience, and I've gone back, I think it's 8 years, maybe 9 now. I go back, and I know the crack is there, but it doesn't come up to the surface. So, yeah, this has been Kent at KJS Painting and Renovations, and check the description, the links in the description. I'll give links to where to get these materials. And also, please like and subscribe the videos. And yeah, thanks for taking time to watch my videos and supporting me and my business. And if you want some help with this sort of thing, give me a call.
I ain't no more money when you're dead.